Hey, I'm Thrasher, and today we're looking at gaming hot takes on Reddit. It's probably going to be a lot of whining here, but I'm hoping some people have some valid points. Let's get into it.
I need absolute silence while I fall in the character. I need absolute silence while I fall in the character.
Okay, I don't know if it's a hot take, but very Reddit specific. I hate when people buy a new game and before even starting it, they post somewhere asking for advice. Okay, so this one is kind of a weird hot take. Yeah, you want to play the game, jump into it. Some people are just looking for some form of community, right? It's not even about the game. They just want to interact with people.
Notice me, senpai. Notice me.
Different strokes for different folks. Whatever. Oh, here's a real gem in the comments for that one. In the same vein, YouTube videos or tweets or whatever that are like, I regret not knowing these 9 important tricks before playing XYZ for the first time. Immediately right off with that. The personal attack is strong. So I shouldn't name this 7 unknown hot takes that I should have known before living my life. I miss levels being the standard. This one just seems kind of selfish. Yeah, open world is the meta right now. But if you want to play games that have levels in them, go play games that have levels in them. Yeah, we should all just cater to whatever you want. That's just dumb.
Of course. How selfish of me. Let's do all the things that you want to do.
Gameplay over graphics. Doesn't seem like a hot take, but I know some people who just only care about graphics. It's not a game without the gameplay. I agree with this one entirely, and I don't know anyone that actually agrees that the graphics are more important than the gameplay. I know people that say that, but once I have the discussion with them, they begrudgingly agree that gameplay is always most important. If graphics were most important, you could just stare at a picture all day. Go to an art museum and just stare at art. You're looking to play a game. You're not looking to just watch art. And then down in the comments, and beautiful graphics over realism. Realistic graphics can be great, but so many games of the 2010s look like a brow mess because they were going for realism. Yeah, I agree with this entirely. If you go for realism in your game, eventually your game is going to look dated. In 10 years, people will notice that it's an older game. In 20 years, it's not going to look good at all. Some games need realism, a lot of first-person shooters, but as you'll notice, many first-person shooters go the cel-shaded route or go some form of cartoony look. You look at Wind Waker. I don't even know how old Wind Waker is at this point. 20 years? God, I'm old. Anyway, Wind Waker looks great. It's been 20 years. It's cel-shaded. It's going to keep looking great for the next 20, 30, 40 years. Yeah, they can increase the graphics, and what they mean by increase the graphics is just the fidelity of the graphics. So it's going to look the exact same. It's just going to look more crisp. That's it. That's not true for games that are trying to look truly realistic. They have to completely retool the entire graphic system, the engine, whatever they're building out. So there's a big difference there. I agree with this entirely.
Approved.
There needs to be a balance, not gameplay is greater than graphics. It should be gameplay equals graphics, so both parties are satisfied, not favored to one side. This is legitimately a dumb take. Gameplay is far more important than graphics. That will always be true in every game ever. There's never a person who says, oh, this game, the gameplay sucks, but you should play it because the graphics are so great. No one says that. That's never a thing. It's always, this game is great. Oh, and also it has amazing graphics. Yeah, that can help with the immersion. That can add to the game a little bit. But gameplay is always the apex of the game. Not every game needs to be open world or have live service to be successful. Quality over quantity. Yeah, I agree. We said that before. Not every game is open world. The idea of live service is actually an anti-piracy thing. It makes it easy for people to try and shove microtransactions down your throat. But initially, the point was if you're always online, it's much harder to pirate a game. With that being said, I mean, I agree with the second part, quality over quantity. That's always true. Unfortunately, there's a lot of games that just shove a bunch of half-made crap down your throat hoping you'll buy it. But the first half, not every game is open world. If you want to play open world games, play open world games. If you want to play rail-based games, go play rail-based games. If you want to play level-based games, go play level-based games. There's lots of choices out there. Yes, a lot of the AAA game companies are making open-world games right now, but there's a lot of indie games that punch way above their weight. So, I don't know. This one seems like a misnomer to me. If you put 100+ hours into a game, then realize it's a bad game, it's probably not a bad game, and you already got your money's worth out of it. That's not true. That's not even a little bit true. There are a lot of games that use Pavlovian psychology and other things to basically get you on their treadmill so you don't get off, and you'll spend hundreds of hours playing the game, and by the end of it, you realize, why was I doing any of this? Oh, it's because they were using psychology to manipulate me into continuing to play this game. That doesn't make the game good. It means that you got manipulated. So this is a bad take. I understand the idea, oh, I got 100 hours out of this thing. It wasted 100 hours of your life. If you didn't enjoy those 100 hours, not only is it a bad game, it's a terrible game. because it's stolen something from you that you can never get back. So I agree with none of this. I don't agree with any of this. This is ridiculous.
I mean, you guys have officially made me lose my marbles! This is a nightmare!
Until people stop buying games from AAA studios, they'll never change. This isn't a hot take. That's a fact. Looking at you, EA.
You freaking freaks! When will you learn? When will you learn that your actions have consequences?
Skill-based matchmaking is shit. I used to have some good games followed by some bad games. Now I have to sweat every single game to do decent, which isn't fun. Well, it sounds like skill-based matchmaking isn't shit. It sounds like you're shit. Truth be told, the idea of skill-based matchmaking is that every match should feel like a challenge. I always thought that was the idea of games in general. There are certain games where you're in an interactive story. They're trying to lead you across a cinematic journey and you get to be part of it. Games with skill-based matchmaking, that's not the case. It's a competitive game. The idea is to get challenged from it and to get better over time. In fact, if you don't have the things that make you better over time or some way to test yourself against progress, it's not even really a game. So that's the difference between playing baseball and throwing a ball at a wall. There are ways to test whether or not you're getting better in baseball. Throwing a ball at a wall, there's no score, there's no winner, there's no loser. It's not actually a game, it's just an activity. So I disagree with this. I do think on the other side of this, skill-based matchmaking could be much better with the number of smurfs and number of hackers and cheaters and all of that. There's lots of things that should be better. Anti-cheat obviously sucks in almost every single game, but skill-based matchmaking itself, the idea of it, I think is actually great. We just really don't have very many good executions of it yet. Hopefully that will get better over time. Probably not hot, but bring back fucking split-screen multiplayer. Online is not the same as sitting on the couch with your friends shooting each other in the face. Some of my fondest memories of childhood are playing split-screen Halo with my friends. I could not agree with this more. I have been looking for any type of split-screen couch co-op that I could play with my wife, my daughter, my friends when they come over, and there's just nothing good anymore. If you know of something good, please throw it down in the comments, but I mean, the couple games that have come out over the last 10 years, I go through them quickly, and then there's nothing. I don't think that we need to be bombarded with them. I don't need 50 amazing games every single year, but 1 or 2 a year would be amazing. What happened to the Castle Crashers? What happened to, man, you guys remember Golden Axe? God, I'm old.
Take a slice. Take a slice. You want a slice? I think it's 2 out of 10.
Live service games and BRs have ruined gaming, and more specifically, the entire FPS genre. It's the meta, right? So lots of people play BRs, lots of people play FPSs. Live service in some senses has actually ruined gaming, but I'm hoping that we can turn that around eventually. I can't really disagree with that. BRs have not ruined gaming. It's just another genre. It's the reasonably hot genre over the last few years. I feel like it's really starting to die off, though. There's lots of other things going on, so this seems like a slightly older hot take, or this person hasn't really played a lot of games recently, and I really think I agree more with the live service having ruined games than the BRs. A good example of that is Anthem. I thought Anthem was going to be an amazing game, and because the live service wasn't making them any money, they didn't want to fix it. The core gameplay was absolutely phenomenal. They just needed to add more content, but they realized they were going to lose a ton of money before they retooled the whole progression system, and they got all of the actual things that they're going to sell to you through microtransactions ready, so they just threw it in the trash. So that's one case where live service actually killed a game that I think could have been amazing. Also, the game should have been fully polished before it got released, but you know, looking at you again, EA.
Sorry.
If you go online to complain about a game or franchise that you know you would never buy or does not appeal to you, you're a glue-eating dork. Agreed. Yeah, that's correct. Baldur's Gate 3 didn't deserve Game of the Year. If you buy games on launch day, you have zero right to criticize people who pre-order. Yeah, that's basically true. Here's the problem. So back in the day, pre-order obviously made sense because there were physical copies that were being sold, so the company needed to know how many people are pre-ordering, so we know generally how many physical copies of whatever game we're making we need to make, and then how much more we need to support that throughput into the future as people buy more. That's no longer true. Obviously, everything is digital at this point. So the bigger problem is that when you pre-order, you get, in most cases, some type of bonus, right? You get some skins, you get some type of thing that you can never get again. So the problem is, if you buy on launch day, You're just a dummy who didn't get the pre-order stuff. And if you pre-order it, then you still got something for it, but you may actually get scammed because it may be a terrible game, it may be unpolished. So they're not the same, unless you're a super frugal person who doesn't care about skins, in which case they are the same. But if you're that kind of a penny pincher, you're probably not buying on launch day anyway. So I don't really understand what kind of person buys on launch day and doesn't pre-order. Free-to-play games have done more for the gaming industry in recent years than new titles of beloved franchises. While they may use sketchy techniques for in-game content, they've made gaming more accessible to more people. I actually agree with this.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
Not entirely. There obviously have been things in beloved franchises that have added a lot to the gaming industry, but the idea that free-to-play games allow people to play games that just couldn't afford them anyway is huge, right? So microtransactions have their pros and their cons. The pros are people who literally can't afford to buy games, younger people, people in college, have access to sometimes amazing games, example Rocket League, that they wouldn't normally have access to. And then on the other side, microtransactions are basically stealing from you and trying to make you a gambling addict. So, you know, it is what it is. I like DLC and live service games. Yeah, I'm exactly the problem wrong with the gaming industry, but I can't help it. Yeah, I guess we can end this whole video with the person that's destroying gaming. We're done here.